Okay, so let me first of all just kick this off by thanking everybody who went to the, not the last video, but the last but one video where the Cavis did a commentary. For those of you who don't know, because there are a lot of you who don't know, you naughty, naughty people, and I know why, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But for those of you who don't know, Cavis won a C3 competition, and I'll put the link to the C3 channel in the description. There's going to be a few links in there, but I'll put the link to the C3 channel down there somewhere, and it's basically, they do this sort of like commentator showdown thing where if you feel that you're an up-and-coming commentator, or if you feel that you're a good channel, they simply say, okay, well, let's put you to the test, and you go head-to-head with other commentators, and it's kind of decided by a group of judges, and then eventually the winner wins a controller from Nifty Mods, who sponsors it, and also gets to put their video on my channel because I sponsor it. I'm just not the most active judge. I'm pretty shite like that. And yeah, so Cavis was the winner, and I only really sort of caught his last video, which was on the competition, and I watched it and I thought, this is my kind of guy. You know, I wasn't even lying about that. I thought this is the kind of commentator I like to listen to because he's chilled. You know, I compared him to the Loyal Patriot because I like the Loyal Patriot. I like Thunder. I like Booman61. I was only pointed out Booman61 when I'd been doing YouTube for a year. I'd never heard of him before, and somebody compared him to me a little bit and said, you sound a bit like Booman, you should check him out, you might like him. And he's a guy from, I think he's from Wales, but he doesn't sound Welsh, and you know, he's got a nice relaxing voice, nice and soft, and you can sit there and listen to him and, you know, drink a brandy and smoke a cigar and dip a biscuit in a cup of tea. And actually, no, you wouldn't have brandy and a cup of tea together. That would be disgusting. But you know what I'm saying. It's a nice chilled commentary, and that's why I like to listen to that. I don't do all this, you know, hey, what's going on? No, forget it. You've lost me already. That's gone. And the reason I know why so many people didn't go over and watch that video is because looking at the views it got compared to the views my other videos get, you know, it was obviously a lot lower. And I think it's because people look at the, you know, the title of it and they see that somebody else is doing it, and automatically people get that, oh, I'm not going to watch it because it's not the person I want to watch type of thing. And that's a bit of a shame because I feel like you're missing out on a bit of a treat there. So yeah, go and check it out. What are you waiting for? This guy's a good commentator and he's very chilled. Now, the second thing I wanted to talk about is I mentioned in a video some time ago, I was talking about the NetDoomer router, and I only really scanned over the subject very quickly, but I mentioned about this NetDoomer router that a few people are getting, and it's sort of improving their experience of Call of Duty, i.e. meaning it's a lot more playable. And I never really put, I don't think I put any links in the description because there was, when I went through my comments, there was a lot of people asking, where can I find this NetDoomer router? Where, you know, give me some links or something. So I'm pretty much assuming that I never really talked about it or, you know, linked it up much or gave much information on that. So I do apologise for that. I will make up for that this very instant now. I am at your mercy. Because basically, I'll go over it again. The NetDoomer router is a router that is out there on the market, and I'm going to put a link in the description right down below the other links. It's going to be the last link. I've got to remember to put these in chronological order, otherwise I'll get fucked by everybody for getting it wrong. But yeah, it's going to be the last link in the description. And basically what it is, it's a router that sort of you can go into and customize and determine how far and wide you want to play against people. So you can sort of stretch out this, I think it's called like a globalization thing, I can't remember, but there's this tool that you can stretch it out to say how far you want to stretch, so that when you're looking for games you only go as far as that geo filter. That's what it's called, a geo filter. Got it in the end, thank goodness for that. I kind of prevented a lot of comments there saying it's a geo filter, Puck, do your homework. Yeah, the geo filter, you can sort of localize it and stretch it out to how far you want to stretch. And how far you want to reach out to, and obviously, you know, people outside of that don't get in essentially, so you can just play nice controlled sort of lag-free games. Obviously you're still going to get a little bit of lag because you know, that's just how it works. It's P2P for goodness sake, so somebody's going to have bad internet somewhere and they're probably going to be skipping across the map, sort of jumping frames and outgunning you. It's just how it works. But yeah, I was lucky enough to receive an email on launch of this thing because I was going to say that I got kind of handpicked, but I didn't. I pretty much pestered the brains out of NetDoomer in saying, look, you know, choose me, I want to be one of these people who gets this NetDoomer router. And thankfully they put my email down, and I got this email one night to say, hey, you're welcome to get a NetDoomer router, but please keep this link to yourself, and obviously hurry up because these things are going to go like hotcakes. And like hotcakes they did, because I wasn't in the position to buy one because, as a lot of you guys know, I'd been out of work for quite a while, and parting with £120 or whatever it was sort of like, you know, that close to Christmas. I had more prioritised things to think about rather than just spend it on a router. because I'm pretty sure that if I'd have turned around to my wife and said, hey, no Christmas presents this year and I haven't paid the bills, but look at this router, isn't it beautiful? What it does is, I'd have got one of them across the back of the head. A nice hearty smack. So, yeah, I missed the boat with that one. But, you know, I've been keeping my eye on things and sort of looking at the community. And a lot of people had been sort of private messaging me and tweeting me about, you know, they'd purchased one. And it was a fantastic thing. It did exactly what it said on the tin. It sort of defused the lag situation and made games a hell of a lot more playable, sort of older Call of Duties. Now, obviously, I've been thinking to myself, I will get one of these eventually, and thankfully I got an email off a chap, a very kind chap, who was sort of like, he's a bit on the inside, so I'm very lucky to have this connection, and he said, look, you know, I can get you one, I can get it to you by next week, I want you to do a review on it, and everything else. So yeah, basically next week I'm going to have one of these NetDoomer routers on my person, plugged into my system, and I'm going to give it a test. But the one thing I can tell you about it, and this is why I say go down to that link, click on it and get one pre-ordered, because the one thing I will say is that they're in sort of high demand, so the chances are you're going to be waiting maybe a week, a couple of weeks, maybe a month or something, or two, I don't know. But from what I can gather from what people have told me, and from this one guy who emailed me, he did this sort of great big write-up on it, like a huge write-up, sort of like a 3-page thing, but I read every single word with absolute utter excitement and just bated breath at the fact that I was going to get one of these things, because he was posting screenshots and everything else, and he was saying, look, you know, I'm a regular guy, I've got a family, I've got kids, I work full-time, I work my nuts off, and the only really time I get to play and sit down and chat with friends and play Call of Duty is over a weekend. I'm just a casual player. I'm not altogether that good, I don't really get high score streaks, but I purchased one of these and immediately I noticed a sort of improvement straight away. And you know, he was saying he got VSAT dogs and swarm and things, and he never gets those kind of streaks, and his kill death ratio, and he was posting screenshots of his sort of, you know, it does this game summary, your last 10 games, and how the, you know, the graphic or stats sort of goes up and down. His was just on the up, and I thought, man, you know, so like 3-4 KDs for a casual player who doesn't play that well, that's pretty good. So yeah, I'm going to be reviewing that next week, and with a little bit of luck it'll shine some light on how good this thing is, and then you guys can just hopefully take my word for it, because there's going to be a lot of YouTubers out there, because a lot of YouTubers do have this thing. You know, I've noticed people like Elite Shot, I think Mark of J has got one, and there's a lot of these clan pub stomping channels have got their hands on this thing, and you're going to have these guys sort of doing reviews on it, and other guys doing reviews on it, and you're probably going to get a lot of hot air blown up the asses of people at NetDoomer. I'm going to do an absolute full frontal honest review. If it's not good, I will say it's not good, but from the feedback that I've seen from everybody, and this has been personal stuff to me, so there's no reason to stroke my ego, is that this thing absolutely does exactly what it says on the tin. It makes it more playable, it makes all the older Call of Duties, removes a lot of the lag. All these like shoot first, die first things, it's all gone out the window. You know, you can play an easier, smoother game of Call of Duty, and apparently, even though skill-based matchmaking is kind of killing Advanced Warfare, it makes Advanced Warfare a hell of a lot more playable as well. So for those people, those few who do love Advanced Warfare still, it might be worth looking out for that. So check out the links, guys, they're all there. Anyone you want to feel, and like I say, go and check out the Cavis, he's definitely well worth a look. Apocalypse done.